What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Draft Day Dynasties. I'm C. Jackson Cowart, the community manager here at Wolverine Studios. I appreciate you joining us for what I think is the 26th episode of Draft Day Dynasties. It gets hard to track after the first 20. And the fifth, showing off Draft Day Sports College Football 2023. If you haven't seen any of the previous episodes in this series, you can catch up on all of those on our YouTube channel. And you can always catch us live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the official Wolverine Studios Twitch channel. I want to emphasize that we are live on Wednesdays now. That is the new plan. Football season is started, which means that we are streaming College Football 2023. It also means there's a pretty big football game every Thursday night. So this is our second time in the Wednesday slot. We got pretty good reception on last week's. So appreciate you guys adjusting your own schedules to meet ours. I think this is going to work out better for everybody long term. So, like I said, this is our second time in the Wednesday slot. This is the second season for this San Diego State. I think we're the Warriors. Not quite sure. I don't know. The athletic director always gets on me for not knowing our mascot. But this is our second season with San Diego State after the lost season. That dreaded first season. We went 0-0. I was in a bit of a fugue state for that entire time, but I woke up and we had one of the best recruiting classes in the country, so I'm certainly not complaining about that. We have a lot of really talented freshmen to work with this year, so I'm pretty excited to see what we're going to be able to make of this team. For those of you joining us live on Twitch, make yourself known. Say hello. Put a little wave emoji in the chat. If you're not an emoji fan, you can just type wave. That works for me as well. Or just let me know, what you guys are up to. Say hi, what you guys want to see on here. I don't know. Just chat. I like chatting with you guys. It's a fun part of my week every Wednesday night. So, Bill, I know you're usually on here. I'm guessing you're probably watching right now, waiting for your chat message. If you're not typing it already, Breeze, I know you're in here. We had a couple newbies last week. Hopefully, you guys make it back onto the stream chat here for this episode. It's going to be a lot of depth chart setting, which doesn't sound super sexy, but it is kind of fun because we are really getting a sense of what this team is made of, and rolling through the offense and the defense. I know we did that ahead of that first season and didn't really get to see any of them in action, so that is a bit of a bummer. But we already have somewhat of a foundation to judge a lot of these players off of, so I think this is going to be pretty fun to run through this second season, setting the depth charts. We already have a bit of familiarity with a lot of these guys, and we have such a talented freshman class coming in, so I think it's going to be pretty fun. I'm seeing on my screen that there's a McDonald's commercial, so I'm not sure if you guys are even hearing anything I'm saying, but hopefully you are. Bill in the chat says, hello, 3 exclamations. Bill Dozer, 7753, thrilled to be with us. Bill, I'm thrilled to have you as well. Breeze says, Breeze 837 in the chat, says, I guess Mike Jordan stole your Thursday Dynasty days, so you were forced to enter the transfer portal and took Wednesday instead. You're not totally off base there. We did Thursdays for all of our Hawaii streams, and then Mike Jordan snatched our soul when he went to Provo, and Hawaii didn't do too well. So that was certainly a bummer. But Bill says, setting the depth chart and sub packages are both very important. Bill is right. You guys got to eat your breakfast and set your depth charts. They're both very important parts of your day. I haven't eaten breakfast today, but I am going to set the depth chart here. So let's go to the training screen. This is, I feel like I say this about a lot of screens, but this is certainly one of the more important screens in the game. This is essentially the foundation for growth, right? This is what's going to lay the groundwork for improvement on our team, and that is everything in college football. It is all about improvement year over year. You only get these guys for 3 or 4 years. Realistically, they're only starting for 1 or 2 years each for the most part. If you get a 3-year starter in college, that is gold. If you get a 4-year starter in college, you're probably just not getting one, because if they started the first 3 years, they're probably going pro. So when you're only playing these guys for a year or two, it's so important for them to develop in the offseason. That is exactly what this training screen is all about. One thing I want to highlight, and Fragman in the chat says hello. Hello back to you, Fragman. I appreciate you joining the stream. One thing I want to highlight is a little different than what we did in the first season, the lost season, if you will, is we've changed this overall setting here. It is a foggy setting. We got our fog of war on. I'm going to go to the settings, show you guys what I mean here. I would recommend you guys doing this for your games. Now, you certainly don't have to. This is definitely a personal preference. If you like to have all of the settings in front of you, by all means, be the leader of your own universe here. But I really like the option to apply fog to overall. And so what that does is it basically takes that overall rating that you see and it just messes with it a little bit. It's just a little foggy. Fog of war, I think that's a term that originally came from online strategy war games, I think. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if any of you guys have played the Civilization games. Brooks is saying fog level of 1 to 100 is no fog at all. So that's certainly true. So this is... actually, let me ask Brooks. So is this... If I'm applying fog to overall, though, is it not doing anything to the overall? I was under the impression that this... if I do this, then hopefully... Well, this will leave the ratings, the individual ratings the same, but then maybe the overall will be foggy. But Brooks is hopping in the chat. ATX Brooks, appreciate you coming on here, saying that I might be a little foggy in the brain here, thinking that I'm actually doing what I want to here. So he said fog to overall is whether to apply the same fog level to overall as to every other rating. Okay, interesting. So, breaking news on the stream here. Brooks, appreciate you joining and clarifying my own fog here. So, like I was mentioning, if you guys are a fan of Fog of War, kind of comes from the idea of, not being able to see what's right in front of you, right? So if you add this fog level, right now I have it none, 1 to 100, and apparently that was affecting exactly what it said, which is nothing at all. But let's say that we were to change this to, gosh, I don't know. We went through this last time. It's really tricky. I don't know if I really want to fog up all of the individual ratings. So we might just leave this where it's at, and we might see everything in front of us. But if you guys wanted more of a foggy situation, you want to have to trust your priors on these players when you're recruiting them, or trust your own, trust the stats for what they're putting up, or just kind of your own impressions of these players and their traits. I would highly recommend changing to one of these levels. Just to give yourself an extra challenge in these games. So, for example, let's just go ahead and change it to 1 to 10. I'm probably not going to keep it as this for the entire playthrough, but let's just look at what that would look like for a second. So, once you change the fog, I know we did this a couple episodes ago, but bear with me, folks, if you've already seen it. But, I find it fun. Why not, right? So, look at this. Everything is 1 to 10, so I changed the overall ratings on a 1 to 10 scale just on its own. That's one part of this. The other part of it is I can't really trust any of this stuff, right? So if I were to sort by overall, it says that Mark Berry and Frederick Shepard are both 9 overall, right? But we know from what we just saw a moment ago that Mark Berry, and frankly from what we saw last year, that Mark Berry and Frederick Shepard are not the same overall in terms of their skill set. Now that doesn't mean that they can't produce the same on the field. It's certainly scheme dependent, but this just adds an extra element of challenge and of speculation on your part to try to build out the best roster without actually knowing, exactly how these guys are going to be. If you were to take real-life Mark Berry and real-life Frederick Shepard and you were to just be looking at them on the practice field, right, you're not going to look at one of them and go, oh, that guy's an 89, that guy's an 84. Like, that's not how football works. That's not how life works. I know we're all kind of used to the Maddenification of football games. Sorry for saying such a dirty word on the stream, but we're all used to that, right? Just seeing all these true ratings as they are. You don't have to play that way. You have options here. That's one of the coolest things about Draft Day Sports College Football 2023 and all of the Draft Day Sports titles. You have so many options at your disposal. You can play really any type of game that you want if you're going into these settings here and kind of messing around. So to that effect, I'm probably going to go back and mess around with how I had it before, because I have a little more confidence in that. Now I realize not really applying the fog to anything, so I'm just going to turn this thing off. Balls of Wrath in the chat said this is a great feature. I agree. That's why I want to show this off to anybody who hasn't seen it. I'm not sure if I've ever played a game outside of the Wolverine Studios universe that really gives you the options to do this. There might be some others that I just haven't played, so I'm not going to make a declarative statement there, but it's certainly a new feature to me, and I think it's one of the cooler features of this game that's probably underappreciated and underutilized by people in the community. But hey, that's the point of these streams, right? To hopefully show off stuff like that. Brooks, while I have you on the chat, hopefully you're still here, unless you've gone to for your dinner plans or something like that. But is there a way to have this foggy on a 1 to 100 scale? Like, say for those of us that want kind of the nuance between, you know, an 86 and an 89 and don't want both of those to be just a 9, for example, or an 18 on a 1 to 20 scale, is there a way for me to kind of mess around and have a foggy 1 to 100, or would it have to be, you know, on a 1 to 10 or a 1 to 20 for now? I know that there's so many things that have changed with some of these settings, so I don't know how difficult that might be to even implement in the game. But that's a question I'll toss to Brooks. He's in the chat. I won't sit here on dead air while he's responding. He might not even be here anyway. But anyway, for now, we are going to go with the 1 to 100. Brooks says not currently. Okay, so that's good to know. So I think with that, I'm probably going to stick to this 1 to 100 right now. I do like to have, you know, the knowledge of these guys, you know, speed and agility and stuff like that. Those are stats that I feel like I'd like to be able to see with my own, you know, coaching acumen. I'm not the best scout in the world, but I think I can tell if a guy, you know, is running pretty fast down the field. So I'm going to keep this where it's at. But the fun part is that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy for us to set our depth chart, because overall, and skills are not everything. A lot of this is scheme dependent, you know, and it really depends on what kind of offense and defense we're trying to run, you know, what kind of style we want to run within that. You know, even if I have a West Coast offense, you know, it doesn't mean that I have to have, you know, a speedy pass-catching back. If I have a guy who's a bruiser, and that's the type of offense I want to run, then that's the player that I should be starting. So, anyway, so we do have all the info at our disposal here, but that's fine. That is my own personal choice. So, I showed you guys last week a cool little trick that I like to do with these training schedules. I guess that's not a cool trick for me. I'm sure most of you guys do this. But in case you don't, the ability to create custom training schedules. Again, this is just another awesome thing that Brooks and Asger and the dev team overall have added to this game in recent years, and I just really think is a cool feature, is making these custom training schedules. So I've already built out a custom training schedule that focuses, right now the default is 5-5-5-5, right? If you look at this little help screen here, it points out that that running a total of 20 points will largely avoid the negative effects of overtraining these guys. The AI is going to be using 20 points, so 20 points is a good barometer to use for your own players' training. But let's say that you want to push them a little bit, right? So you can set these default schedules, these default training schedules. And so, like, for example, this one. I've labeled this. You know, I call this ATH for athletic. You know, I could call it, you know, big strong man. It doesn't matter. You can call it whatever you want. But this just bumps 2 points up in athletic training. I have PHY, right, for physical training. Bumps 2 here. I have a combo down here of positional and physical training. Gives 1 point each. 22 is kind of the max that I like to go to. You can go all the way up to 25. I know 22 is the default in the pro game. 20 is the default here. Brooks, I love having you on the chat. I'll just ask, is there, you know, is there anything? I know that 22 is kind of the default number in the pro game, and 20 is the default here. Is 22 a risky number to do here for those players who are coming over from the pro game and might be used to, you know, maxing out all their guys at 22 for training? Is that a riskier thing to do in the college game, given that 20 is the default that the AI is running on? And I'll just look at the chat here. Balls of Wrath saying, I always do custom ones. Always, sometimes only 2, then sometimes 2 schedules for almost every position. Balls of Wrath, I gotta be honest, I don't know what that sentence means. But I think what you're saying here is that you try to run a couple different custom schedules based on the positions. I certainly try to do the same. I don't want everybody on a default schedule, because there's some guys that I want to push a little bit harder, right? I mean, you look at 18-year-old George Prince as an example. He's not going to play this year. He's an 80 overall. He's got a 68 intelligence, which is unfortunately smarter than our starting quarterback, but not exactly where I'd like him to be. He's got an accurate arm, but he doesn't have the strongest arm. It's pretty clear to me that Mark Berry is going to be the starter here. And I think that Frederick Shepard is probably going to be the backup. So, well, I don't know. Might actually be a tough competition between those two. But anyway, George Prince, I don't mind pushing him a little bit harder. And if he, you know, happens to get hurt, God forbid, in training, that would certainly be a bummer. But, you know, look, he's our third-string quarterback, right? So I think we push him a little bit. We see if he can develop. And then, let's say that we push him and it's fine and he does develop and he's still not good enough to be a starter. This is one of only, 3-4 training camps? I think 3 that he's ever going to have. Probably 3 if he's good, right? So let's get the most out of him every training camp. Guys like that, you come down here, somebody like Seth Schwartz. Seth Schwartz has a lot of growing to do. He is a 60 speed. He's not going to play in this offense with a 60 speed. I am not concerned about Seth Schwartz getting hurt during training camp. But he's got a 59 skill rating. That means that he has so much room to grow in his game. So he's somebody that I'm absolutely going to push a little bit harder in training camp than I would maybe, a Frank Godinez or a Robert Larson. We need those guys this year. We are going to be a run-heavy team, I think. We need those guys to be healthy. So I probably will have them on more of a default schedule than I would, say, Seth Schwartz. So that's something that you guys can keep in mind in your games when you're doing the training camp, and you're figuring out the schedules for all these guys. Think about who you want to push harder. And there's nothing wrong with having guys really maxed out on their training schedules and maybe even a little bit harder than some of the starters because you can afford to lose them. So I'm looking at the chat. Brooks was saying that he thinks 22 is probably a safe number to use in college. Balls are a little bit earlier in the chat was saying 22 is perfect. If you do to 24, you'll get injuries and stuff like fatigue, out for 1 to 2 weeks. So that's good to know. Brooks giving the A-OK on 22. I like that. So I might change the default schedule for some of these guys to 22. In fact, let's see. What do I want my default 22 to be? That is a good question. I tend to like to do positional drills just because, I don't know, I think that obviously that helps everybody, right? And then physical training and athletic training is kind of the interesting, coin flip there. You're going to do speed and agility or strength and stamina. I don't really know which of those I prefer. Probably, gosh, that's tough. I don't know. I might just leave this. We'll see. Let's just go physical for now. We'll save that. Yep, looks like that's saved. And then we'll go ahead and adjust some of our other schedules as well. Scrolling through Balls Around says 22. He's talking about the number of points to allocate here. 22 is good week to week. You may get a few guys who aren't able to handle it if you do 23. They'll complain in emails, and I just put them on a schedule called and then a profane word that I won't repeat here. But I get the message, Balls of Wrath. I know what you're saying there. So, I think 22 is probably a good mark for a lot of these guys. And look, I'm not worried. In the pro game, I know some people like to go even as far down as 20 for some of these injury-prone guys. I mean, these kids are all 20 years old. I think they're going to be okay. Whammy Bar Plays, appreciate you joining the chat. I know you were in here last week. You said you're late to join, but you're not too late. We haven't got too far into the action here. And throw the ball. Throw THA ball, for those of you at home not watching in the chat. It says, if you run a high-tempo offense, is it a good idea to lower their training schedule? That's a good question. That's a question I wonder if Brooks would have the answer to. I would think so, because it's based on the number of plays. Guys are fatiguing when they're playing, so I would think if you're running a high-tempo offense, and you can't really run a high-tempo defense, but if you're running a high-tempo offense, if your games, maybe you're playing in a conference with a lot of other high-tempo offenses, right? Your guys are going to be playing more plays, which is going to lower their fatigue during the game, might leave them more susceptible to injuries and that sort. So if you know that you're going to be playing a high-tempo scheme, it might benefit you to keep injuries and stuff like that in mind as you're setting the training schedules. Balls Around says, skill positions, I do more athletic training line. I do more physical. Then, like defensive end, I may do athletic linebacker, maybe physical. It just depends. I have to take a nap, and we'll watch this after I wake. Thanks for doing the video. I appreciate it a lot. Appreciate you, Balls Around. I appreciate all the insight that you're bringing in here as clearly a veteran player of the game. So, really appreciate that. All right. So let's go through here. Now that we know that 22 is kind of our safe mark, I might start messing around a little bit here and going to 23 and God forbid 24. So we're looking at athletic training. Don't think you should ever go above 8. I know that's kind of a rule of thumb in the pro game for veterans of that game. They try not to ever go higher than 8 on any of these individuals. I don't know, Brooks, if you have any different perspective on that, but I know at least the community has shared that with me from their experiences. So I'm going to go 8 on athletic training here for just athletic specific. And then I will do, gosh, I mean, if we're going to train him that much on that, we might as well do a little physical training, right? So let's go to physical here, and we'll do the same thing. We'll go 8 and 6. I think that's probably a pretty good mark there. And then let's go to positional training. We're going to go 8, and then might as well do game tape, right? I mean, if I know a lot of you guys aren't a big fan of game tape. It helps them develop their intelligence and all that. I don't know. I mean, probably not. Maybe let's just do physical training. That seems fine. And then, all right, we'll go to tape. Don't think I'm going to be putting many guys on the tape regimen. But if I do, probably a quarterback or something like that. And then this one, kind of a hybrid here between these two. So let's go ahead and go 7 and 7. So that's going to be putting us at 24. And then this one right here, this will be 7 and 7. I feel pretty good about that. I think I have all the schedules that I need. Brooks says, correct, you can overtrain individual aspects or you can overwork them in an overall sense. And you tend to want to keep higher numbers to maintain certain skills and attributes. So that is to the point that I was making about not wanting to exceed 8 is kind of the magic number per the community. That's not to say that is the highest that you can go, but Brooks gives an example. So a 10-10, 1-1 schedule would be pretty risky on both ends. That makes sense. Brooks brings up a really good point here. It's not just about the high number, it's also about the low number. So let's say that you're maxing out position drills and athletic training and physical training, right? You leave game tape at a 1. For lack of a better term, you're going to have a pretty dumb player. Like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to drop one of these scores so low that player atrophies on that particular skill. I mean, maybe, right? Maybe you want a dumb running back. If you want a dumb running back, that's fine. Go ahead and forget about game tape. Forget about positional drills, any of that stuff. Just max them out on physical training, athletic training. Great. You're going to have a freak athlete who doesn't know where the football is or what a first down is. That's probably not what you want. So, I feel pretty good about our training schedules here. So, let's see. All right. I think for Mark Berry, our starting quarterback here, what do we want? I think that we should put him on something that's a little tape heavy, a little positional heavy. So, I'm actually going to create a new schedule, and it's going to be called, It's going to be called quarterback. And the quarterback schedule is going to be high positional drills and high game tape. A little higher game tape, right? So that is going to be the Mark Berry routine, the James Price routine, George Prince, James Price and George Prince. That is going to be tough to get those two differentiated. All right. Robert Brunner, Todd Cantrell, all these running backs, right? Are any of them really that fast? No. Robert Larson is a speedy man, but the other guys are not. So let's set all of these guys to... What do you guys think? We got to get their athletic training up a little bit. So we'll assign them to that. Again, I know I do this every time. Massive shout out to the checklist. I love these checkboxes on the left to be able to do that. I think that's such a brilliant addition. And then for Larson, let's do it for Larson too. He's already fast, but he could be faster, right? Imagine if he had a 90 speed. That's a game-breaking talent right there. So, all right. Fullback, you guys, I need you to be physical. No way around that. So, that's what I want for you guys. Tight ends, I think I feel the same way probably. I know I'm still on the fullbacks, but I think it's going to be the same here. I think I want you guys to be working on your physicality this summer. All right, and then let's check out the wide receivers here. We could differentiate between these guys, but really what do I want for my receivers? I want them to be positionally sound, and I want them to be fast. I'm not really worried about having a bunch of super strong receivers. So I know it'd be good to have them in the blocking game. Rah, rah, rah. I get it, guys. But that's not... I'm streaming, right? This is for entertainment. Do you guys want me to have really good blocking receivers? Or do you guys want them to catch 70-yard touchdowns? I think I'm going to go ahead and train them for the latter. So let's go... Maybe a positional athletic. I think that's probably good. We're going to have all of these guys at 24. I just realized that. That's probably a little risky. I don't know if I want that. All right, maybe some of these guys we should probably bring down a little bit. I don't know. I feel pretty deep at running back, though. All right, Vincenzo Martell, I cannot afford to lose him. So I think we do him on more of a default schedule. Some of these high-end starters, I mean, his skill level is already pretty high, so there's not a ton of room to grow there. Somebody like, what am I looking at here? Justin Davis. I don't know. Kenneth Jernigan, that's a good example. This dude has a 93 skill, or a 96 skill, actually. Probably not going to see a ton of growth from him. So let's just keep him on a default schedule. He's one of our starters. Can't really afford to lose him. Same thing with Jesse Merchant. Don't really want to lose him. So I feel good about that. All right, the Hog Mollies. They all have a lot of room to grow. So quite literally, let us make them grow, right? We're going to go... All of our offensive linemen are going to be on the on this regimen. But actually, maybe we just do that one, right? Yeah, I think so. We want some big, beefy guys. There we go. All of those guys are now training for success. I feel good about that. All right, same thing with the defensive tackles. I know you guys are mentioning this in the chat. You like to train them up to particularly emphasize their physical skills. That is where I'm at as well. I think we're going to do... I kind of want to do positional and physical, just because I do think there's a little more finesse on the defensive line, or at least that I would like to see from our defensive line. But there we go. Just look how efficient this is with the checkboxes. I mean, this is just... I could go on all day about these. This might be my favorite feature in the game, and I guarantee I'm one of like 4 people that even know that this exists, other than me telling you guys every week. But, okay, linebackers, this is big. We need smart linebackers. We need linebackers who are good in coverage. We need linebackers who are versatile. And frankly, to be honest with you guys, we need linebackers that don't suck. All of these linebackers really suck. So let's go ahead and do... let's do the QB regimen, right? I mean, yeah, I like that. Positional drills, watch a little game tape. Let's get some smart linebackers on the field. And then Bruce Spicer, you are going to... You're only 18 years old and you're like already our best player, but I'm just going to have you... on the tape regimen. I'm going to see how that goes. You're going to be the only guy on the team on the tape regimen. We'll see how that plays. Okay, our safeties are the best players on the team. I absolutely freaking love our safeties. Norman Gamble is going to stay on the default schedule. I need that dude to be healthy. So we're not going to mess around there. But these other guys, just go ahead and work on your position. Be versatile. Be really the backbone of this team. And then we'll go free safeties as well. I think everybody here is good. We unfortunately lost Harry the Hammer Heath, who was one of my favorite players that I never saw play. But these guys, Frank Whelan, probably not a lot of room to grow there. But you know what? I don't really care because you're not that good. So same thing here, guys. We're going to go just get better at your position. So doing that to those guys. Let's check out our cornerbacks here. I think we're going to do more of a physical and athletic training combo here. I want some fast corners. I want some... Well, what are my options here? I guess I got to pick one from what I've created for myself. Let's do athletic. Yeah, I don't need physical here. There we go. Assign those guys. And then our final players here, we need a kicker and a punter regimen. So... Man, our kickers are really bad. What happened? Did we lose our kickers? What happened? I thought we had a better kicker than this. 2 19-year-old kickers. They both suck. How about you guys just get better at kicking? That sounds good. We'll put you on the position regimen. All right, there we go. So look at that. So every single player on the team now has a custom... Wait, yeah. I was like quarterback, but yes, that was on purpose. Every single player here has a custom training schedule... built by yours truly. A couple of these guys are getting training camp off, so to speak. They're just going the regular routine. I'm going hard on these guys. This is my second year as a coach, my first year as a lucid conscious coach. They are not going to have the easy road here during training camp. Bill Dozer says, it's difficult to be solid at all positions. My current Washington State team's a little weak at offensive tackle and cornerback this year. Ooh, that is a tough combo to not be good at. My wide receiver and special teams groups are both loaded with talent. That's kind of a funny combination there. You're really good at the receiving core, but you don't have enough time to throw to them. And you can certainly drill a 55-yard kick, but I don't know if that's going to win you any games. I'm curious to see more about that Washington State team, Bill, maybe on Franchise Fridays. Be curious to see how that is going. Are there any good college football multiplayer leagues that you guys are aware of? I'll throw it out to you guys. Bill and I are in a college basketball one. He is kicked my behind in multiple years straight. I have University of Washington, and he has Seattle, and I'm pretty sure, Bill, are you 2-0 against me? Are you 3-0? I don't know how bad it's been, but every single year I lose to Seattle. So would love to have something similar going in a college football multiplayer league. I'm in too many already. I barely keep up. But okay, so I feel pretty good about our training schedules here. I think we're going to have some injuries. I'm not going to lie. I am certainly working these guys to the bone, but we'll see, right? We'll see. I think I took this too far. I definitely think I took this too far. I'm going to learn a lesson. Okay, the only other things that we want to change here, head coach player focus. So which player do I want to spend my attention on, and then which player do I want to have the assistants spend their attention on? So actually, let's go to the staff first. And let's see what positions they are strongest at. Bill chimes in and says, yes, it is 2 or 3 in terms of how many straight wins that Seattle has over UW. Someday you'll win, and then the rivalry will really be on. Okay, those are fighting words, Bill. Bill's saying it's not even a rivalry because I can't beat him. He's probably right, actually. I don't really have any room to talk there. Okay, so Jackson Cowart, 35 years old, one of the best coaches in the country, if I do say so myself. Let's see. So what is he/me strong at? Quarterbacks. That's kind of my specialty. So, yeah, that's all we need to know there. Expectations. Let's see. Yeah, fairy tale season. Good luck. Okay, Brian Moore. He is an offensive whiz. He is knowledgeable about the offensive line. I didn't really see that coming. Silent, strong leader here. All right. So maybe we have him train up one of our offensive linemen? I don't know. Yeah, is there anybody else No, not really. He's very not knowledgeable about skill position players, so I guess we'll have him training up like our tackle or something. And then Gail Buffington. Oh, man, Gail! Look at that. Gail is the best defensive backs coach in the country. Running a 3-3-5. I think I have an idea what we're going to do there. Okay, so I'm going to train a young quarterback. Gail, my main man Gail, is probably going to be on the safety train. And then I guess we'll pick out a good offensive lineman for Brian Moore to coach up. I don't know. Okay, so who has room to grow here? Who is young, and who do we want to work on? Let's see. So let's start at quarterback because we don't need to look at the whole thing here. It's probably going to be, for me, between Frederick Shepard and George Prince. James Price is interesting, and he is smart. I do like that. He is a heady guy, 6'6", 215. He's got a good head on him, good head on his shoulders, but unfortunately his arm is not quite as good as his head, and this is not soccer. So James Price might have a little work to do to crack this. Ooh, and he is not accurate. Okay, James Price, and you're a junior? Was he on the team last year? James Price is terrible. Did he transfer? What is up with this guy? What's his deal here? Game logs? History? Signed? Oh, he's a JUCO. Oh, he's a really bad JUCO. Wow. Well, sorry, James. I didn't mean for this to be our introduction. Welcome to the team, but okay. Well, he's a media darling, so that's good. You always love your backup quarterback to be the best quote in the room, but not going to be the best quarterback. Okay, so between Frederick Shepard and George Prince here, curious your guys' thoughts on which one you think has more promise in the program. The thing about George Prince is he's an 88 skill, so I'm not really sure how much room this guy has to grow. And I know I keep saying that. It's not an end-all, be-all. Your guys can definitely progress just because they have a high player skill. And you want them to have a higher player skill. I mean, that means that they're going to be more adept at their position. But it does mean, and Brooks, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is certainly my impression, from playing these games and from the community, that a player's potential rating, which there is no such thing as a potential rating, at least it's visible to us, but their potential, is highly correlated to this player's skill. If they're already pretty skilled, their physical traits are really, they're only going to improve so much, for them to be able to take that next step. So, Whammy Bar Plays says, JUCO James surrounded by what I can only assume is the Illuminati Triangle. JUCO James is a media darling, but I don't think he's going to be, having too many impacts on the field on wins and losses. But, okay, so George Prince, like I said here, the player skill is pretty high, so I don't really know if he's somebody that I think is going to have that potential to take the next step here and be kind of the leader of this team. But Frederick Shepard, I really do think has that potential. He's got 69 skill overall, certainly a nice skill level there, but it could be higher. 86 arm, 75 accuracy. So, he's not super accurate with the ball, but he is the smartest guy in the room, other than James Price, Illuminati Price over here. I don't know. I'm not really seeing it with Frederick Shepard. I'm not really understanding what it is. So, okay, ATX Brooks says, nope, potential is separate from skill. Skill grows quickly as they play the position. Potential is internal and drives potential massive gains in the offseason. Okay, so Brooks, what would you say? Because, I was under the impression that skill was kind of correlated to that. I know a lot of people in the pro game, I think some community members kind of are under that impression that those two are linked. So what would you say is the best way to kind of gauge what a player's potential might be? Because that makes sense. This player skill, like you mentioned, is a rating on its own. I mean, it dictates, essentially how effective that player is at playing that position. In a similar way, maybe that intelligence would impact that. I know player skill is huge there. So if that's not necessarily an indication of how developed a player is overall, what would be kind of the best way to get a sense of these raw players, maybe that have the skills? Brooks says, we intentionally keep potential hidden. You won't know unless you're really monitoring training gains each year. Okay, so that's interesting. So essentially, if you're wanting to have an idea of what a player's potential is, what you should be looking for is how quickly they're training, both in the offseason and during the year. And then I would guess, and Brooks, you can certainly chime in here, I would guess that if a player has, kind of a physical skill set, maybe, these raw skills that we're looking at, speed and strength and stuff like that, I would think that would probably lay the foundation for, a player that could kind of fill out in the other ways. I know, too, that work ethic, this is certainly an assumption I'm under, and Brooks, correct me here, but work ethic is something that I'm always looking at to try to see, players that have that potential to really improve their game every offseason and during the season. I always like to look for a player that has that 85, 90-plus work ethic. To me, that indicates somebody that has a high potential. I'm not sure if that actually correlates with the under-the-hood potential, but to me, I always thought it did. I think that makes sense as well. Brooks says you may get tidbits from coaches and scouting that may give you hints too. So that is a really interesting thing that you guys should keep in mind as well in your own playthroughs, is pay attention to what your coaches are telling you, right? And pay attention to what you're learning in scouting, especially, and Brooks isn't saying this here, but I'll just go ahead and say it, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but especially from a personality standpoint too. If you guys have guys that are hard workers, or, if you're getting in those little coaching notes saying, that a player is, a really dedicated worker, or is somebody, that's always working to improve their game. I mean, that is certainly something that you should be keeping in mind, especially with potential being hidden. It's not 100% hidden, right? The skill is hidden, the actual skill rating is hidden, but it's not like there's no way to tell, and that's what we're, learning from Brooks right here on the chat, is him, telling us different ways to get an idea of those potential ratings. Whammy Bar Play says, I like hidden potential. I always thought work ethic correlated as well. Brooks confirms that right there. Yep, work ethic helps give them a good chance to get gains during the year. So there you go, guys. If you're looking for potential, the things you need to keep in mind are work ethic, and keep in mind their different personality traits and their training gains in the offseason and during the year. If players are developing pretty quickly, chances are that is going to be their development trajectory throughout their career. So love that, Brooks. Love you being on these chats. This is one of the coolest things about these live chats. is having you, not people like you specifically, having you in the chat, helping give us insight here. So we're looking right now at skills. I was always under the impression that this player skill is sort of a gauge of their development, so to speak, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like this is just more their aptitude for that particular position. So actually, maybe I should change some of these training things, but I'll leave those as is. But, well, no, I won't. I'm going to go through. Who's on a default schedule? Who thought that they were going to get an easy training camp and is now actually going to be worked to the bone here? Martell, I need Martell to stay healthy, so we're not going to mess around there. Jernigan, sorry, buddy. You thought that you had a chance. You do not. See anybody else here? Norman Gamble, I need him to stay healthy. I can't afford that. Okay, I feel good about that. So let's go back to the roster here. Brooks in the chat is saying, yep, traits too, and coachability and internal potential all will affect things, some during the season and some during actual training camps. I love that. I'm in love with this game. This game is so awesome. I love college games. I love the ability, or not the ability, but I love the challenge to have to manage these players who are constantly growing in a way that's different than the pro game. That's not to say that they aren't growing in the pro game too, and Brooks obviously can speak to that. Players are developing regularly in the pro game, but there's just something really unique about these college games where development is the point, right? Development is the entire structure with which this is all built around. You need your players to develop over the 4-year cycle, and then you need to strike while the iron's hot, while all of your players are at their peak capabilities. So again, Brooks, love you chiming in here. So all right, so let's go back to quarterback. And now that we have our newfound knowledge here, let's look at personality. And let's see what we need to know here. So Mark Berry is a gunslinger. Love to see that, but not going to train him because he's a senior. James Price is media darling and a conniving enabler. I don't know how those two go together, but let's see. So work ethic here. Frederick Shepard, he's got that 77 work ethic. You love to see it. All right, look at this guy. He is a decent work ethic, competitive guy. I think it's Frederick Shepard. I think he is who I'm going to be focusing my attention on. So, okay, let's go back to ratings. Let's see, are there any guards that we think are kind of the future of the team? Quincy Stanford is a freshman. He's already got that 82 overall. Not the best work ethic. He's a film geek, so I mean that's interesting. Does leave some potential for him to grow on the mental side. We'll keep Quincy Stanford in mind, but I don't think he's necessarily the archetypal guy to train here. Okay, William Klein, 82, and he's a tackle. I like that more just because I think I place more value in my tackles than my guards. I think most of you guys would agree. He's an athletic blocker, so that's interesting. Oh, work ethic 87. Okay. So William Klein is certainly, and he's 6'7". Goodness gracious, why aren't you on the basketball team? That is unreal. Okay, so William Klein is probably going to be the guy that we're training here, but let's just take a look at center. Yeah, I don't think William Lackey. I think our coaches had some negative things to say about William Lackey last year. I don't know. I certainly do. 38 work ethic. Get out of here, Willie. Okay. Now let's go to safeties. Okay, George Conley is a freshman, 83 overall. Oh, 95 work ethic. George Conley looks like a potential future star. And he's a workout fanatic. Look at that. Okay, George Conley I think might be getting some extra attention during training camp. Let's just make sure there's no strong safeties that deserve that as well. Oh, man, Norman Gamble. I love Norman Gamble so much. He is a center fielder back there. Decent work ethic, but I think Norman Gamble, we only got 2 years left with him if we're lucky. So I think it is going to be George Conley, William Klein. Wait. No way. We have a William Klein and a Wayne Klein that play the same position and they're not spelled the same. William Klein out of Lake Elsinore, California, and Wayne Klein out of Lake... No, he's not out of Lake Elsinore. Longview, Texas. Alright, guys, I'm going to do something that I'm not particularly proud of, but before I do it, I'm going to read the chat. Bill says, some of the personality traits are very entertaining. I have to go now, but I'll catch the last 15 minutes on YouTube later. Bill, I appreciate you. Yeah, I guess we are doing an hour on these all the time, aren't we? I like it, though. I like the pacing of this. And then Whammy Bar Play says, does the player history screen show if there's negative stories? It's a good question. I don't think it will for us, just because there wasn't a lot going on in the last season. But yeah, so it'll mention here records, recruitment, which is really all we have on William Klein. Actually, let's look at someone who has been around a little longer. Mark Barry, he's been around the block. So we saw the recruitment with him. Yeah, that's all we have from him. But it will show stuff like social, which I would imagine social is really just sort of any interactions between them or anything kind of not on the field, not recruitment related. So that's a good question, Wham. I can't confirm that it's necessarily going to show negative stories here, but it would make sense here with what we're seeing under this drop down. Okay, so I'm going to do the thing that I said that I'm not proud of. I'm going to edit a player. And I know what you guys are thinking. It feels like I'm cheating. I'm not going to edit the player that way. I just think it's too perfect to have William Klein and Wayne Klein and not have them have the same exact last name. So I'm going to edit Wayne Klein here. I'm not looking at the ratings. You guys don't look either, okay? Don't even look. You didn't have enough time to see. Perfect. Okay, changing that from a C to a K. And there we go. Now we have Wayne Klein and William Klein. I kind of think they should come from the same place, though, right? But Brooks says this is why we keep potential hidden. Too tempting. Brooks, I was not looking at his potential. I do not want you to think that that was my intention. I merely wanted to change his name. So let's make that very, very clear. I do kind of want to change his high school, but then that's going to mess with the pipelines, and I don't really want to do that. So Wayne Klein and William Klein, they are brothers, in case you guys were confused. They are absolutely brothers. Unfortunately, their parents were divorced when they were young. Wayne went to live with his dad in Longview, Texas. William went ahead and stayed at Lake Elsinore in California. And Wayne wanted to come back home, so he's been with San Diego State for a few years. And William just signed on as a freshman. I mean, his brother's here. William's obviously the better player. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster. None of this matters to any of you, but that's what we're going with now. Throw the ball said Kevin Klein's sons playing together. Isn't it a great story to see Kevin Klein's sons? I'm pretty sure we also have another celebrity child on the team. I can't remember who it is. Let me scroll through here. I think they're a pretty good player too. Who is the celebrity on our team? I know that we have one. Can't remember who it is. I don't think it's Donald Glover's son. I don't think that was the one. Alright, I'm not going to find it now. Oh, Kimmel, that's it. That's right. Jimmy Kimmel's nephew is our kicker. He sucks, though, so not really, don't have too high hopes for him. Brooks says came for the IPAs. And then Whammy Bar plays. Man, Whammy, you have the best emojis. Where are you getting these? For those of you who aren't on the chat right now, it's just this, it's like a salt container pouring salt out, but it's like an emoji. It's incredible. I don't know where you get it. Can I pay you for your emojis? These are great. Okay, I think that we have set all of the training that we want, or at least we know what we're going to set. Let's go back to the training screen. Whammy Bar Play says, I don't know. You don't know where you're getting your emojis? Man, they're like I'm so confused. Man, you're the one that's dropping the best emojis on the web here. Okay, so our offensive coordinator is... Oh, no. Oh, no. We have to get the right Klein. It only shows us their first initial. Why would I do this to myself? Okay, I think it's the one who's ranked 82 overall. Let's go to tackle. 82 overall. I think William, right? William Klein. Yeah, okay. Let me just make sure that Wayne Klein is not... Okay, yeah. It's William Klein. William Klein has that nice work ethic. He's an athletic blocker, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. And then defensive coordinator is focusing on Conley, right? George Conley. He's a workout fanatic. He's got that incredible work ethic. So, let's do it. Let's go ahead and advance. Look at that. Whammy just dropped another emoji. It's an entire jar of sugar with the spoon in the jar. I've never seen these in my life. Okay, we're going to advance through training camps. Yes, I would like to complete training camps. All right, here's the big reveal, and then I think we might end the episode shortly after because I feel like this has been pretty clearly the training camp episode, so I feel good about that. All right, I'm going to go to teams here. I'm going to go back to training. Whoa, okay. Okay, Norman Gamble is a superstar. No way around that. Norman Gamble, look at that. All right, let's go to our inbox. and see what we've learned. Oh, Team Medic. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. My entire inbox is full of emails from the Team Medic. Makes it sound like there was like a catastrophe on the field. I hope everyone's okay. Oh, my God. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's just the medic just emailing me over and over, letting me know that I'm pressuring the players too hard. They're not even telling me which players are injured. They're just sending the same email over. I think I have 25 emails in my inbox from the medic. Oh, my God. How hard did I train them? Is this going to be, like, did I commit a crime? This is unreal. I've never had my inbox flooded with such a daunting message. I actually think that my job might be in jeopardy. Holy, oh my gosh. All right. Training camp report. Throw the ball says, you're going to have 17 scholarship players available. If I'm lucky, I'm going to have 17 players. The medic emailed me like 35 times, so, jeez. I don't even know if we have the money in the program to deal with all these medical expenses. Goodness gracious. Okay. Norman Gamble is far exceeding everyone's expectations in training. I don't know how that's even possible because I had sky-high expectations for Norman Gamble. And fortunately, nobody is a bum. Last year, I think it was Ricky Lovelace. Like, I got an email, and the coaches were like, Ricky Lovelace, like, really sucks and isn't trying. Let me find it. I'm not going to have it, I don't think. It was a great email, though, last year. They were like, Ricky Lovelace doesn't care about football. And I was like, well, he probably shouldn't be our starter. So, fortunately, nothing like that this time around. All right, so we have 25 scholarships to offer. That is a lot of scholarships. We are aware we probably won't have a chance to go far inside the top 1,000. We hope you can find solid players in there. What are you talking about? We had like the 25th best recruiting class last year or something. It was ridiculous. I mean, I know I had absolutely no part in it, but I think we can shoot a little higher than that. And then team captains elected. Okay, so our team captains are Norman Gamble, surprise, surprise, Robert Larson, okay, and Justin Davis. Great. I do love to see that. Okay, let's go back to the screen that we were looking at before, and that was the training screen. So I'm going to come back here, and let's just look at all of these gains, okay? So Mark Berry didn't gain at all. And Brooks, when we're looking at these gains here, this 10, 1, whatever, is that just like skill at all? Like, does that mean that they gained 1 point, like, in any individual attribute, or is this like an average of kind of what they were gaining, or what exactly is the number that we're looking at here? What is this pulling from? Brooks, I don't know if you're even on the chat. I know you've been around here for a while, but I'm curious if you are still here. Like, for example, what Norman? Okay, total of gains. So Mark Berry basically just told us to scram here. 1 gain the entire offseason. Dude, you're a starting quarterback. I would have expected a little bit more from you, but I guess that's what we get. We didn't put a lot of attention into him. So a few attributes could go down a bit, others could go up a bit and give you a net. So that's interesting. So maybe Mark Berry, slacked a little on his strength. Wasn't in the weight room, but maybe he's a little faster than he was. We'll see. I didn't write down all of these players' attributes before. That's certainly within your guys' wheelhouse if you would like to. I'm just kind of going to wing it here and see which players seem better. I'll tell you what, one name that jumps out right here is Frederick Shepard. 81 overall, so that's still what it was before, I think. 86 arm, 76 intelligence, 76 accuracy. So, I'm not necessarily seeing massive gains here from Shepard, but I do think he's pretty firmly our backup quarterback, and that's fine by me. But I want to see Norman Gamble here. So he's an 89 overall, okay? So I'm pretty sure he was an 89 overall before, maybe an 88. But man, for him to just still be a junior and to be so skilled at the position. Now I'm not afraid of this too, because it doesn't mean he can't grow, as we just saw, right? Here's a great example. Norman Gamble has a 98 skill overall. And I think he was right there before. But yeah, let's look at progression. Brooks says, does it show in progression what they gain? I think it does, yep. So, let's see. At the bottom, it shows here 2022, 2022 training camp, 2023, and 2023 training camp. So if we're looking at this here, it looks like he gained a little bit in hands, a good bit in tackling, a good bit in endurance, and a little bit in intelligence. So, okay. So he's got better hands now. He's a better tackler. He can stay on the field longer, and he's just a little smarter. I like that a lot. Great call, Brooks, to check this progression screen on Gamble and all of these guys. Fragment says, what kind of training do people like for each position in training camp? I'm curious for you guys as well. What training regimens do you guys try to focus on for each individual position? And this is a great feature, too, that's right here. You see some of these are crossed off. You can go ahead and click on that and have it back. It's just, you're not going to learn much. So by default, run blocking is crossed off for Norman Gamble because he's not a run blocker, right? But let's say that I just wanted to isolate, how have his hands progressed, over the course of his entire career, right? So you can just isolate it right there. So now you have 65, 65, 65, and 67 right there. So again, another feature that's not a back-of-the-box feature. Nobody's buying the game because you can, cross off different ratings on the progression screen. But it's just another way for you to have more control over your dynasty, more things to learn. That's one of the things I love so much about specifically this game. I really want to credit, the college football game. I know that it's pretty similar in the pro football game too, the same engines. But I feel like there's so much to learn. And maybe that's just a credit to the sport of football itself. But Brooks, I think you and Asger do such an incredible job of creating so many opportunities for the player to learn. Even just with our discussion today about hiding potential, right? You leave little Easter eggs in the game for players like us to have to learn them and discover them. And this is just kind of another example of information at our fingertips, these progression screens. And certainly the basketball games show progression as well. So that, I'm not singling that out, but particularly for this game, to be able to cross off all of these and easily identify, a player's progression in every single individual stat across their entire career, across 2 different data points for every year, it's just awesome. I really love it. This is just another example. I mean, there's countless examples when you go into things like the strategy screen and the stats screen and all of those in terms of the attention that you can pay as a gamer and the level of attention that the dev team has paid to this game, just with all of the different things at your fingertips. It's one of the more impressive things that I've seen really in any game. So I absolutely love that about this game. Brooks says, thanks. It's fun to watch folks play it and find different ways to enjoy the game. I think that's one of the best parts about this game and Wolverine Studios games in general. There's so many different ways to enjoy these games. All right, let's look at fan favorite here, George Conley. We asked the coaching staff to pay a little bit of extra attention, and look at this. Okay, so here's an interesting thing right here. So what is this? What is this stat right here that I'm looking at that bumped up? Must be his tackling, right? Yeah, his tackling went from 71 to a 74. So I love to see that. His endurance went up 85 to an 8. Probably because I'm working these guys so hard that the medics are, emailing me furiously telling me to call off practice. But all these guys' endurances are up, so love to see that. Little bit of improvement for George Conley. He's only a freshman, so this is really only the beginning for him. And then Frederick Shepard. Let's see, where did he progress? I have a feeling I have a couple ideas of where he progressed. I'm just going to go ahead and cross off strength because I know it's not that. What is this right down here? I don't think it was intelligence. Yeah, his intelligence before was 76, and now it's 76. His speed is the same, 69 to 69, and his agility is the same. His accuracy, unfortunately, did not improve. He had a 75 accuracy. Oh, he has a 76 now, so I shouldn't say it didn't at all, but I see. So that's that line right there. And his arm strength, that's the thing that didn't improve at all. Went from an 86 to an 86. And then, what is this, endurance? So really his hands. His hands got way better. So now if we want to use him as a receiver, we can go ahead and do that. Thrilled about that. Brooks says, yeah, 3 years of 3 to 4 point gains can really make a difference. And then Whammy Bar Play said, Brooks, do you know the baseline average for players overall as incoming freshmen? I can answer that for you right there. The baseline average is just so different because of it depends on what program you're with, right? You know, the baseline average for a team like San Diego State might be like a 75. Baseline average for a team like Alabama might be like an 85. Somebody like, you know, San Diego, I don't even think they're in this game, University of San Diego, might be a 75. So, I guess, you know, Brooks can probably answer better the actual, you know, true average, but it really depends on what program you're running and kind of how aggressively you're recruiting these guys. So, for this team, I'm trying to get, you know, 75 to 80 for these guys coming in. But we got pretty lucky with this recruiting class this recent year. A lot of these guys were 80 overall, if not higher. We got a little lucky, so I think that is going to set pretty strong foundation for us coming into our second season. I think that's probably a good place to cut this off. We just passed the hour mark. I always like to try to sneak under an hour, but oh well, nobody minds a little extra football, all right? So appreciate you guys joining us for this stream. This was awesome. You guys were super active in the stream. Let's all give a massive shout out to Brooks for answering all of our questions in the stream. This was awesome. I learned a lot. Hopefully you guys learned a lot as well. And I certainly learned a lot about our players. Norman Gamble is a super duper star, captain of the team, and I feel pretty good about some of the progression for our guys further down the depth chart as well. I think this is going to be potentially a fairy tale season. Is that what the athletic director wants? I think maybe we'll be able to capitalize on that. So, a few things before we go. The first thing, if you are not already subscribed to us on Twitch, at this point I'm offended. I am aggressively mad that you have not subscribed to us, especially because I'm pretty sure there's like a 30% off deal on new subs until September 30th. I don't know. Maybe I'm just pulling that out of thin air, but celebrate September. I don't know. I'm making this up. But you don't even need to pay for a subscription, guys. If you guys have Amazon Prime, you can link it with your Twitch account. You get one free sub every single month. That's not one period. That's one every single month. So, you know, if you've already subscribed to all these other crazy Twitch channels, maybe just use one of those subs on us, right? It would mean a lot to us. Brooks is right here. Brooks can say how much it means to him and to Gary and to Asger and the whole team. So if you guys are willing to support us in small ways, like subscribing to us on Twitch and by buying these games, I mean, that's the biggest way that you can support us. But just a little way is to sub to us on Twitch. If you do, send me a screenshot on Twitter or on Discord or anywhere else. I mean, if you find my LinkedIn, have fun. Send me a screenshot. I will tell you the best beach spot in San Diego. You're not going to be able to find it on the map, guys. It is not one that people know. It looks like a private beach. It's not. It's a public beach. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'm not going to tell you the name of it. I have a shirt that has the beach on it, all right? I got it for Christmas. It's one of my favorite shirts. It's one of my softest shirts as well. That doesn't matter. But subscribe on Twitch. I'm going to tell you about that beach spot. Second thing, don't forget about hashtag Franchise Friday. I think last week I said that it was tomorrow, as in Thursday. It's not tomorrow. It's Friday. Hashtag Franchise Friday. But I love seeing what's going on with your guys' associations, your careers. Bill always has awesome updates. And the Discord has been popping recently with different dynasties going on. So definitely join the conversation there. Hashtag Franchise Friday. Across all of our social medias. Let us know what is going on in your careers. Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, Discord, Slack, the original forums on WolverineStudios.com. Post everywhere, guys. Let's get this trending. We mostly just do this on Discord, but you know, I'd love to see it on Twitter and Insta and everywhere else. So hashtag Franchise Friday in just a couple of days. And if you guys have any ideas for other videos that you'd like to see, or you have any questions, or you want to chat about Wolverine Studios, or you want to chat about sports, or you want to chat about the Klein brothers, you know where to find me on Twitch and Twitter at CJacksonCowart, on our Discord server, or anywhere on the Wolverine Studios forums. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.